you guys, I realized my last video made a few people a little sad, and I think that's a valid reaction, but I'm just here to tell you, you don't have to be sad. Every emotion you have is a choice. It may not feel like a choice because it just happens to you, right? But I promise it's a choice. And there's nothing you can do when something happens to you, right? Well, that's not right. You see, do you know what happen means? It's when something occurs, right? So what about the plural form, happens? What does that mean? Does that mean multiple occurrences of something occurring? So, when you happen upon something, you find it, right? So, saying an emotion just happens to you, does that mean the emotion found you and you're letting it have you? When you think about how emotions are talked about, people like to say sadness or anger is taking hold. Or a cloud of red anger just overtook me. When you think about that, you start seeing emotions are a choice. 'Cause you are deciding whether to stay in that cloud or not. Now, I want to clarify that the choice of an emotion, lots of times, especially when you're in the beginning of controlling your emotions, the choice is not always clear. It's usually hidden, so it doesn't feel like a choice at all. Some people say, oh, it just runs through my family. Well, I don't think so. I don't think it works that way. Same thing for diseases and things like that. Just because they run through your family, I don't think it actually predisposes you for those things. Let me explain. I think that it's more of the power of suggestion that makes you contract those diseases or whatever you call that. The power of suggestion is how fake mediums and fortune tellers and palm readers, the fake ones, this is how they continue to make their money. The way the power of suggestion works is it like pollutes your subconscious brain, just like teaching a younger child. They're just a sponge for information. So pretty much you see your mom or grandmother or whoever it may be living the lifestyle they do, and that tricks your subconscious mind into thinking, hey, that is a good way to live. I should live like that. And I think that is why family members tend to pick up the same diseases or chronic illness as their family members. For fake mediums and fortune tellers and things like that, the power of suggestion works because they tell you what's going to happen, and then your brain kind of is tricked into making that happen because you're modeling what they are saying to you. Now, there is no proof that it's just the power of suggestion at work when you pick up the same disease as your family members. But in the place that we live that values a sick person over a healthy person, I don't think there's going to be any proof of that anytime soon. Alright, now I'm going to tell you how you can choose your emotions and stop letting life happen to you. And you can start happening to life. First of all, this is a total journey, and if you're not up for that journey, that's none of my business. That's not for me to judge. Just, I guess have fun letting life happen to you and being a pretty much slave to your emotions. The first thing you're going to want to do is take notice of your emotions and what is setting you off. It can be hard to remember to pay attention to yourself when you start feeling that emotion. But what you can do is you can set out little signs. It can say, look at what you're feeling, or look deeper, or whatever would remind you to take note of your emotion. And once you notice the emotion, you are validating your emotion. There is nothing wrong with feeling what you are feeling. You are a human being, so you are going to feel emotions out of nowhere. But it's primitive to say you're a human being, so you're going to let your emotions just lead you wherever they lead you. Once you start getting in the habit of taking notice of your emotions, you can start writing them down and figuring out why they happened. Like what set you off, and why can't you seem to get a hold of it? And at the same time, you can give yourself solutions of things instead of just feeling upset about it. This is where you start to take control over the things happening to you. So instead of life happening to you, you start controlling whether you happen to life. And if you practice that for a while, it'll start becoming a habit, and eventually that habit will become the way you live. How do I know this works? Well, the proof is in the pudding, you guys. I'm the prime example here. I have done this for years and years and years now, and it is working amazingly for me. I'm living such a better life, all because I said one day, life is going to stop happening to me. I'm going to start happening to life. I'll give you a real example of how it works. All right. A few years ago, I would be practicing trying to walk, right? And obviously, I would fall a lot. Over and over, and I would hurt myself, usually to some degree. And I could tell myself that falling is just part of learning to walk. And I should just trust the process. I can say that to myself however much I want. But the fact is, it still hurts. It still left a mark. And we are hardwired to remember pain the most. And we are hardwired to remember not to do the thing that caused the pain. So I would get that feeling, and I would get pretty sad and pretty depressed. Those thoughts came up in my mind as, you just can't do it. You're just useless. You're a failure. You just can't do anything. That's what those intrusive thoughts would sound like. After a little bit of time, I started to observe my thoughts. and watch them come and make me feel pretty bad, and watch them stop me from trying to walk. And I would take notice, and eventually I would start saying, "Is any of that true? Is it true at all? There's no way that's true at all. No, I'm doing way better than I was last year, and the stuff I'm doing right now, I couldn't have even dreamed of doing. And after years of doing this, I can definitely say it hurts me much less every time I stumble or trip or fall. I am still working on it to perfect it and everything, but it's leaps and bounds better than it used to be. I used to be in such a bad place. Every stumble would leave me feeling extremely depressed. And after 2 or 3 stumbles, I might even cry. But it just takes years of work and practice. It's not a switch you can flip on and off. You have to work at it. But